It's one of those places like a silent disco where that line between what's private and what's public, like it's a very private place, but it can also seem like a very public place or a public place where people are trying to be private. So it's weird to know when you should talk or should not talk. I think you should never talk to me in a hot tub unless I talk to you.
Right. Unless you've gotten the text invitation to meet you in the hot tub.
To our business meeting.
If you've ever wondered what the heck you actually said at the end of that party,
or wanted a do-over button for those cringe-worthy encounters,
then you've experienced what we call the joy of awkwardness.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Bree.
And we're here to celebrate the awkward.
Embrace the awkward.
And remind you of one important thing.
You may be awkward,
but you're definitely not alone.
Well, that was awkward. So, Bree, I have a story for you today.
Ooh.
A listener story.
Mendy, how can we have a listener story when we haven't released any episodes yet?
We have tapped into the collective consciousness. Hopefully she's listening right now.
Well, that's one.
Maybe. We sure hope so.
So do you want to jump right in?
Yes. But I think we should share our own awkward stories first.
Okay. So the idea for this podcast came from our hot tub business meetings.
We meet in the public hot tub that we go to at our gym.
Sort of public.
Sort of public. It's at a gym. And we share our big dreams and big ideas. And we pretty much always have something awkward to share from our week.
We do. Yeah.
And the hot tub itself is ripe for awkward experiences.
Yeah, sometimes our friend Denise comes and joins us too.
The hot tub is a great place if you want to see some butt cracks that you weren't supposed to see or have things mansplained to you by man-strangers.
Oh my gosh, the overtalker.
Yes, we have an overtalker in our hot tub.
We do.
And it's one of those places like a silent disco where that line between what's private and what's public, like it's a very private place, but it can also seem like a very public place or a public place where people are trying to be private. So it's weird to know when you should talk or should not talk. I think you should never talk to me in a hot tub unless I talk to you.
Right. Unless you've gotten the text invitation to meet you in the hot tub.
To our business meeting. And if you're lucky, Bree will be wearing her blue bathing suit, which is super fun in the hot tub because the jets come up and make little volcanoes come out of her boobies. And, and it also makes... Yesterday, when you were talking to our friend, it did that thing where it swelled up the bottom of your suit really big.
I look like a little kid with the donut.
The big donut around you. A little kid who'd eaten a buttload of Doritos and also had a donut around you. And you were farting. It was so great.
I wasn't really farting. There's nothing wrong with farting.
You wasn't. No, I meant that as part of my little imagination.
I'm not shaming farting, but I was not.
I was not actively on fart.
Not that time.
In that moment.
No.
Not at that time. That was just all the bubbles from the hot tub. So yes, we talk about awkward moments, and it's inevitably an awkward place to be.
So we do have some strategies for dealing with awkward hot tub moments. What is your best strategy for getting rid of the overtalker?
So when I'm with you, I feel like you and I, or you, me, and Denise, we're able to put up a force field of don't talk to us. Like if you're with another girl, you can just talk about menopause.
Absolutely.
Or periods. But when I'm alone and I just want to like play Candy Crush on my phone, I have told him before, and this worked. I'm like, oh, hi. I'm just ordering groceries. And that has seemed to work.
Oh, that's good.
What do you do? Bree, you probably just come out and state your boundaries.
No,
be a modern
I don't.
woman.
Denise states her boundaries.
Good at that.
I don't state my boundaries. I would like to. I'm learning from her. No, as you know, I have a very expressive face. And so what I try to do when the overtalker comes is I also pull out my cell phone because that's really a helpful tool. But I try to look as sad as I can possibly look. I just try to look really
unapproachable,
pathetic, because nobody really wants to talk to a sad middle-aged woman in the hot tub. Nobody really wants to do that. So that's my trick with Mr. Overtalker. And I have to say that works pretty damn well. So,
So awkwardness.
yeah.
Awkwardness. Bree, why awkwardness? Like, what is awkwardness to you?
Hmm.
Besides what happens in the hot tub?
Well, it's a couple of things. There's some level of potential embarrassment at play. And that can be overt embarrassment, or it can just be the fear of having an embarrassing moment. And it's also a little bit uncomfortable, just feel a little on edge. And then the third thing, which in ideal situations is not entirely negative, is that it can be a little funny, right? Awkward
Right.
moments can be pretty funny. How about you? What do you think of when you think of an awkward moment?
So I hate them when I'm in them, of course, but I also love them. To me, it's like when the narrative of everyday life gets just torn apart and you're stuck in this, I think, magical place of not knowing what to do and having no guidebook. Like society's norms are just broken apart or gone. I love pranking, right? It's one reason I love pranking because it's this magical little happening that nobody expected. And sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing, but also it's super duper funny. And you kind of, I don't know, I think it's also once you can get over the chagrin of it and the shame sometimes of it, then you kind of get to know yourself a little better. All you've got is yourself in that moment, right? On the
Yeah,
front lines of life.
yeah.
So, but mostly it's super funny.
You do prank a lot. That is a
I do.
Mendy specialty.
It's my favorite.
Have you done a prank this week?
Yeah. A student of mine gave me some birthday fudge that he'd made a few months ago, and it was in a little Ziploc bag, and it gotten all squished up, and you can imagine what it looked like. So I had some of it, and then I saved it for my work wife, and I found it this week just before we went on spring break. So I went and, while she wasn't in her classroom, I went and tucked it in a place where she could find it. And I have not heard from her yet, so I'm looking forward to her finding that little, I guess, stool sample. She'll probably just know it's me, though. Yeah, that was my most recent one.
That's one of your medium game pranks.
Yeah, what does Denise call them? It's like a slow burn prank.
Do you have a story this week that is awkward?
Yes, it's awkward that you said that because I already said that I had a story and you've already forgotten about it.
Oh, you have a story. That's
Yes,
awkward.
yes, yes. I think it's pretty darn awkward. When I think of it, I start to turn a little rosy myself.
Well, let's hear it then.
Okay. All right. Our girl, we're going to call her Taylor because she's living her best life. She wrote us with a story about an inevitably awkward rite of passage that we all eventually go through, moving.
Oh, yeah.
Bree, do you have any awkward moving stories or anything around that?
I mean, it is always awkward when you're living in one place and moving to another and you've got half your stuff in one house and half your stuff in another or whatever.
Mhm.
That's just awkward because you can't find what you need. It's awkward, not in an embarrassing way. So I'm undoing the definition that I just had for awkward earlier.
It's clumsy.
It is clumsy. It's awkward like a 12-year-old is awkward, right? Where you're moving from the child body to the adult body. That's how I feel when I'm moving into a house every time. But no real stories that I can remember. It's been a long time since I moved. How about you?
Well, you remember the landlord that we had to sue because he kept just appearing inside of our house?
Yeah, that was awkward.
I came in one time and he had met with a plumber, and he and the plumber were just chilling in the living room, and I got home from work and he was just straight up hosting with the mostin in my living room. I didn't know my rights then. Now I do. So yeah, that wasn't pleasant, and that was definitely awkward because we hated each other and had to see each other a lot for months during the lawsuit. But we won, which is maybe awkward for him. But whenever you're moving, right, inevitably something is going to fall through the cracks. You have things that were once like precious little mementos, they get tossed in the trash. We realize that we haven't actually cleaned our bathrooms in years.
Oh.
It's right. I remember like every time I've moved like 10 or 11 times going in to clean the bathroom that I thought was clean. But then when I do that moving clean, I'm like, oh my God, we're so gross. Like, how did this happen? And it's just a situation that's just ripe for awkwardness and clumsiness. You're picking up your entire life and putting it in boxes and getting some beefy guys to help put it in a U-Haul and move you across town or across country. It's weird.
Okay, but hold on here. This beefy guy business, that has not been my experience with moving.
Well, who do you get? Who helps you move, Bree?
Well, I mean, my husband, I guess he's a beefy guy.
Yes, he is definitely a beefy
That's
guy.
one. I get one beefy guy. You're talking beefy guys.
Yes. Well, this is Taylor. Taylor's got her life together. She's got all the beefy guys helping her
Okay.
move across town, right? Or across country.
Okay.
So our girl Taylor has been living in her apartment for like 6 years. And we're going to go in and call her complex Meadowhaven. And she is a model tenant. She knows like all the Etsy tricks for making her place feel like home without damaging the drywall. And the management know her and she knows them like by name. She knows the front desk person, Katie, who sits in the little community area where like all the little cute mailboxes are. And our girl is on good terms with Trevor, the handyman, and she knows only to call him if she seriously can't handle her shit by herself.
Okay, so we have Katie and Trevor.
And she knows not to call Trevor when she has clogged the shower drain because she waited too long between shaves. And she knows when she does need to call him to alert management because of issues that might result in like structural damage or something down the road. She is an ideal flower in the pleasant patch that is Meadowhaven.
Okay. Is there something going on with Trevor or Katie for that matter? Is there something going on with them?
She's just a tenant, but the best tenant ever.
Okay.
And there's also Pat, the groundskeeper. There might be something going on with Pat, the groundskeeper.
All right. So we have Katie, Trevor, and Pat.
These are all the little villagers in Meadowhaven. And every day she just steps out into the courtyard. And do you remember that opening scene from Beauty and the Beast? She just like steps out and she's like, bonjour. And they're like, bonjour. And she's like, bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
Okay, Mendy, you can't sing it because Disney will sue us. We don't have the rights to that. That's a Disney song.
But it's Disney. Like if they sue us, don't we have to pay in like hugs and batted eyelashes? I've got plenty of those. All right, you could cut that later.
We'll see.
Taylor has her shit together, and she is about to plant her roots in somewhere totally new because she has just bought an entire whole new house. Bree, do you remember that feeling of when you bought your first house?
Yeah, I do. How about you, Mendy?
No, I don't. But moving on. Taylor is a master organizer. She has alerted all of her friends at Meadowhaven that she will be moving on in a few weeks. And she's made her little list of what she keeps, what to toss. She has the U-Haul locked in and a whole squad of beefy men to help her pick up her life and start over somewhere new.
She's my hero.
I know, right? She's got it together. She's got a plan. She's got a schedule. One room, one closet, one cupboard, one drawer at a time. She starts in the kitchen. Right? Why do I need 3 sets of tongs? Bloop. Tongs in the donation box. Ew. Kelp noodles are gross. Bloop. Kelp noodles to the food bank. She moves on to the living room. Which board games get to live in my new house? Is this pursuit really trivial? Does this throw pillow really give me joy? Etc. She is straight up Marie Kondoing this whole damn thing. Room by room, girl is knocking it out. Bree, when you did move, did you think you were an organized mover? Did you have it locked down?
I think I'm a pretty organized mover, and I definitely relate to kelp noodles going in the food bank. Yeah, they're so gross.
That's not the keto hill you need to die on. So it's all set, right?
Yeah.
One day she's at work at her real ass career, and an email pops up from the folks at Meadowhaven. Bree, would you like to read this email that she got?
Oh, yeah, sure. Dear Taylor, Meadowhaven Apartments is in the process of being sold to Every House Management LLC. This is a courtesy note to inform you that a staff member will be stopping by this week to audit the status of each unit. We will come by during typical work hours so as not to inconvenience you in any way. Sincerely, the Meadowhaven management team.
All right, so she's moving. They're going to stop
Mm-hmm.
by just to look at the place.
Mm-hmm. Seems pretty cut and dry. I mean, the only thing that sticks out for me there is like typical work hours.
That's
It's
9 to 5, right?
yeah.
What a way to make 11.
Okay. Anyway, we'll let it go.
So she's not going to be there when they come by, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
at first, our
Mm-hmm.
girl does a little hair flip because, of course, they're selling her apartment when she's about to leave. What are they going to do without her? She is the flower of Meadowhaven. She's been there for 6 years. And it's a definite sign from the universe that her move is divinely timed because, I mean, who knows what a new management company is going to bring along with it, right? Like Trevor might not be there. Pat may not be there. Katie might leave. Who knows, right? What's going to be going
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
But then Taylor remembers that the most recent room that she was going full Marie Kondo on was her bedroom, specifically her bedside drawer. Bree, what do you keep in your bedside tables?
I have like 3 pairs of reading glasses, some CBD gummies. I think
Ooh.
there are a couple of receipts in there.
Why would you keep
And
receipts in your bedside table?
I don't know, like I empty my pockets at the end of the
Okay,
night
that makes sense.
and pens, some pens.
various pens.
How about you? What do you keep in yours?
Okay, hair ties. If I ever need a hair tie, if I open a bedside table, one will magically appear. Cords to cell phones and things like that. A nose ring that fell out one time in the middle of the night is in there. The Bhagavad Gita and that book, Tough Titties, that you recommended for me.
Laura Belgray, shout out.
Yes. In her bedside tables, she keeps her arsenal of self-pleasure devices.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what those are, Bree?
Vibrators?
Mm-hmm. You got any of those? Do you have any self-pleasure devices, or have you ever?
I mean, I thought my phone was my self-pleasure device. I would like to say that I have self-pleasure devices, but I don't. And in this day and age, I think that's even more awkward, right? To
I know
not
I don't feel liberated enough.
You don't either? I feel less alone.
No,
Wait.
I have my self-pleasure devices are, yes, my phone, my knee brace, Sunday New York Times crossword.
Seriously, though. Seriously.
I'm mentally titillated. That's my kink.
My kink similarly is I have spelling bee on my phone and I pay for New York Times. And every day, Mendy, every day I do spelling bee and I do not stop until I hit genius level just because I love getting the notification from the New York Times that I am once again a genius. That is my kink.
This is getting a little racy because we actually do the spelling bee every night together in bed. We will keep going till we get to genius. And then I have this compulsion where I have to look up the answers to see all the words we didn't get. And I get so mad.
Back to Taylor.
Taylor, unlike us, is living her best life. So she has a whole bunch of vibrators in there, right? But she's cleaned them all out. And some of them are older than others. And she wasn't sure which ones would work. What? No, what? Like old as in not old and crusty, but like old, like they're from previous years. They're good. She's held on to them.
They're
lost
clean.
the chargers.
They're clean.
Of course they're clean. Yes, of course. She has a dishwasher. So she doesn't want to take a bunch of like broken dildos to her new house, right? Marie Kondo would not approve of that. And there's like an old wives' tale, like, don't take a busted dildo to a new house or you're gonna have HVAC problems. I think there's just everyone knows not to do that. So she wants to make sure she's only taking fully functioning vibrators with her. So what do? You test them. So she plugs in her toys all over the house in every single outlet. Not just the bedroom, not just the bathroom, which I guess to me those are sex toy zones. The kitchen, the living room, everywhere. It's like her house is a little Tesla charging station for juicing up her little army, right?
Okay.
So she gets this email while she's at work. So she makes a little note on her Taylor's Best Life moving to-do list to just tidy that up when she gets home before the people come later that week.
Solid plan.
Yeah. And she, she's looking forward to maybe a little bit of, double checking, testing when she gets home, just to make sure, just really make sure they work before they come to the new house, right?
All of them?
Yeah, let's say, yeah. Our girl is thorough. She gets to her workday. She arrives home later that evening. She opens the front door. She goes to switch on a lamp, but the lamp isn't plugged in because, her classic rabbit is charging in that lamp's usual socket. So she flips on like the wall switch, which turns on that awful overhead nipple light fixture. You know those? I call those the landlord's delight. And she sees her apartment just like she left it. A museum of sex toys in various shapes and sizes and super fun colors on display everywhere. It looks like it's like the Louvre of liberators or the MoMA of masturbation, the Smithsonian Institution up in there, right? And then one of them is actually come to life and is like purring on the counter, and it's like gives her a soft, fuzzy feeling inside. And there, on her kitchen counter, between her neon purple Knight Rider and her hot pink titulator, is a note from Meadowhaven Management. Bree, would you like to read this note?
Okay. We have completed the visit for your unit. Oh no.
They had come that day.
Well, that was awkward.
Oh no.
They had had a full tour of the Smithsonian Institution.
Oh my God.
It was a landmine of vibrators, in her own words. They could not take a step without their feet being violated.
Well, they got their money's worth that day.
So we asked her what happened next, and in her own words, she said, shame. Shame happened next.
Oh.
And she's not set to move for weeks.
Yeah.
She still has to live there.
I just feel like my stomach just dropped out.
I
thinking
know.
about
Oh my God. Yes. She said she fell to the floor and she called her friend, which is exactly what I would do. I would call you and scream. And then, boss move, she goes into hiding. She won't check her mail in the little Meadowhaven, like little community house during business hours because she doesn't know what Katie will think. She runs her trash out in the cover of the night and stashes it in her car after she makes sure she parks her car as close to her patio door as possible. And then she drives her trash off to a dumpster off site so nobody can catch her going in and out of her house.
Oh.
And she just lives under the shadow of shame, convinced that Trevor, the handyman, and Katie, the mail queen, and Pat, the groundskeeper, just think she's a deviant sex fiend.
I mean, like there's part of me that's also like, who cares?
Yeah, like now in my 40s, I say that.
Right.
I don't think she wasn't in her 40s when this happened.
Yeah, and I say that. I mean, there's such a part of me, the part of me that in my imagination buys vibrators and uses them. That part of me is like, girl, like, who cares? Like, you've got this. It's okay. You gave them a treat. Like, they get a whole fantasy now because of you. Good for you. Yeah, but also that's like my fantasy self. So I get it. I
I know.
Right,
I'm jealous of that person who can do that. I want to be able to do that.
yeah,
I want to be her.
me too.
That's how we can learn from this. So the outcome is that Taylor moved into her own house, and now she could do whatever she wants in whatever room she wants with whatever part of her body she wants.
Go Taylor. Does she have any advice for people who are in a similar situation?
Yes. Don't hoard your sex toys thinking, oh, I'll just buy another charger. Because you won't. I think Marie Kondo would approve of that.
I think so. If they don't bring you pleasure anymore, get rid of them.
Bree, what do you think you would have done, or what would you have liked to have done in that
Mm,
situation if you were in it?
Well, like I said, I would like to think that I would have been cool with it and just thought, hey, I did something great for these people and I wouldn't have had any shame about it. But Mendy, the truth is, I'm blushing every time I say the word vibrator. Like, I'm turning, look at me, I'm turning bright red right now. I'm going to need like systematic desensitization over the word vibrator with this episode, really. But I think I probably would have been pretty similar to her. I think I would have I would have hidden.
So, yeah, I think the like highest, most spiritually whatever way to deal with it would be to own it and be like, yes, I am a liberated woman. And then when I skipped out of my house, I wouldn't skip out anymore like Beauty and the animal. I'm not going to
Bet.
say the whole title so we don't get sued. La Belle et la Bête. I wouldn't skip out of my house anymore. I would like to think I would strut out of my house and I'd be like, bonjour, 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 bonjour. But I wouldn't do that. I would do exactly what she did. I would live in hiding. But in hindsight, Bree, as you know, I am really good at weaseling my way out of consequences. I don't like consequences. I don't do them. And I could be a kind of maniacal genius when it comes to maneuvering my way out of tight spots. So I actually think I have a solution for this that might work.
I totally want to hear this.
All right. So it would be an overly complicated plan, but I think it's a plan that might work. So when I came back in, after I fell to the floor, after I called you and screamed and cried, I would crack open my laptop and remember that email she got earlier in the day saying that they would come by later that week?
Yep.
I would respond to that. And I have written a letter that I think would work. Would you like to read my imaginary letter?
Oh, okay. Let me get it. Okay, here it is. Dear management, thanks for the heads up. I see that you already came by today, and I just wanted to apologize for the mess. My little sister Bethany is in town for her bachelorette party, but Bethany's best friend from college, Dana, had already begun decorating the apartment with silly bridesmaid-esque decor, as you saw. So sorry for all the phallic imagery, which, of course, is a quite common and traditional rite of passage for women entering unto this new chapter of their lives. I'm glad the inspection went well otherwise, though. I'm off to help Dana with the bean dip, and we're looking forward to a quiet night of watching rom-coms, journaling, and not disturbing other tenants. Bethany's big day is April 21st. Hashtag Bethany and Derek forever.
I think that could have worked, right? Like all the vibrators were just, that was Dana. That was Dana starting decorating and they just came in during, I would, oh God, I think I'd even go to the party store and put up streamers and balloons and get my friends to come over and take fake pictures of us at the party and show Katie. And, oh, I'm just thinking of this now. And then she could plant that into the Meadowhaven rumor mill, right? Oh, that's good. Isn't that good, Bree?
That's a good one. That is a good one. And that is why you are my friend.
And you have to make sure you do not, I have to be out of town on Bethany's wedding day.
That's right. You have to, I mean, that's the really tricky thing about a lie, right? Is you have to follow through with that.
Yeah, whenever I saw anyone from Meadowhaven, I'd be like, hey, like show them those pictures if I went that far and just be like, oh my God, did you see my friend Dana when she was here? She's so crazy, right? And just plant those little seeds in the gossip mill of Meadowhaven.
So
I think that might do it.
I think that that's a brilliant idea. On one hand, we have what Taylor did, which was to hide until it was time to move. On the other hand, we have what my dream self would do and your dream self would do, which would be to totally own it and just be empowered about our liberated sexuality and to not really care what anybody thought. And then the third is to make up bold lies about Dana decorating your
Dana.
apartment.
Dana and the bridesmaids.
Mendy, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all awkward and 10 being totally awkward, the most awkward it could be, what would Taylor's situation be for you?
Oh gosh, I think for me it's above a 5 for sure. When I think of that moment of walking in and seeing that note, I'm like a 7.5 to an 8.
Really? That high?
Yes, because it's like, first of all, it has to do with something extremely personal. Everything they saw on display had been on the interior of her vagina or around it or orbiting satellite to it. And here's the thing. We know why they were plugged in everywhere. When
Right.
those people walked into the apartment, it's one thing to see like, oh, there's a sex toy in the bedroom and one in the bathroom. But to see, oh my gosh, the 20, 30, I mean, in my mind, they didn't know that she'd gotten them all out to test them. I mean, I would imagine they thought that that's just how she lives her life, where she's got one in every corner just in case, and that they're always out. To the point where her toaster's not plugged in. The oven is off. The refrigerator is off. Maybe she didn't unplug the refrigerator, but only because that outlet is really hard to get to. Everything is unplugged and has sex toys plugged into it. They don't have the backstory, right? So I think, what did they think when they stepped in there? What do you think, though, Bree?
I understand your point, but I really think it's most embarrassing when you have to deal with it in the moment. When you are social situations are more embarrassing for me, where I have to figure out how to respond in the moment to ease the way for everybody.
Mhm.
That would be far more awkward. And because this was awkward, yes, but she had the time and the space to sort of figure out an action plan to work around it.
Right.
And so for that reason, I would give it a 6.5.
And she wasn't caught, like, in the act.
Right. I mean, that would be,
Oh.
I think that would be a 10 for me.
No, that would kick it on up there.
I think I think that would be a 10, but it wasn't that. They were just plugged in. She didn't even short out the what's
Oh,
it called?
boy. The mainframe.
Yeah. They're going to look at the power usage that month and be like, woo, I'd hate to pay that electric bill.
Oh, well, Taylor, we hope you're listening. Thank you so much for sending your story in. It has brought us so much joy.
After hearing this story, I feel like I need to expand my horizons a little bit and
Try a little Sudoku.
and you can keep your ears out for this sound. So if you're still listening to us right now, what would you do in that situation? Let us know.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, Mendy, we have a new website.
That's so exciting.
It is exciting. And on that website, you can leave us a voice memo. On the website, it says, leave us a voice memo. And if you want to call in and leave us a message about what you would do in this situation, we'd love to hear it.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear that so much.
And if you're still listening, here's a little recap of this week's episode.
Toys on charge, the landlord called.
They waltzed in and saw it all.
The rabbit and the Benoit balls.
Well, that was awkward. Taylor vibes to her delight.
In her own dang house, day and night.
But we agree that in hindsight,
Taylor. Girl.
well, that was awkward.
That's funny.
This This has been an Awkward Sage production.